Okay, this is Writing to Learn Journal 8 by me. And this chapter is about the use of reading guides and different kinds of guides. So, the tips I have chosen is for High School Music Level 1, which is Knowledge and Skills, and it's historical and cultural relevance. And the student relates music to history, culture, and the world. And the student is expected to compare and contrast music by genre, style, culture, and historical period. So there are several advantages of using reading guides in written form. And some of these are to help students focus on important aspects of the content, make reading active rather than passive, make students translate material into their own words, provide useful tool for review, and provide students a valuable discussion aid. And I really think this is really helpful. Just helping the students to focus on the important aspects of the content. They know what they're looking for, and that's what helps with the second thing, which is make reading active rather than passive. And I like what the book says about that. This way, students don't, they're not trying to read till the last page. They are really focusing on what they're reading in every sentence they read. And then to make students translate material into their own words, which I think is very important when reading, because that's the way it'll stick in your head. And provide useful tool for review, which is at the end of the day, if they're reviewing that for like an exam, they'll use what they translated into their own words to help them remember the material. And then it provides students a valuable discussion aid, which is, I always think it's very important in the classroom to be able to discuss material. I know in my music classes, we always learn from each other. Whenever you walk into a class that is quiet, that doesn't have like, let's say, good chemistry with each other, you have to find a way to make them talk, and well, maybe it's not a problem in elementary, right? There's probably going to be too much talking, but what I mean is that to be able to discuss the content with your classmates is always good for everybody in the class. And then next is the use of guides in a wide range of reading selections. You can use reading guides in a lot of things to read. The book says that research has shown that there is now ample evidence that comprehension is better for students who use guides. What I also got from the book is that reading guides shouldn't just be used in very difficult, unusually difficult reading selections, that they can be used for anything, and it doesn't matter the difficulty, that the results are always better when there are reading guides available. And then the next use of reading guide is for students of high and low reading abilities. So the reading guides can really help everybody, to be honest. For the high ability readers, I feel like the book says that they are the ones that benefit the most, but I mean, I would argue that they both do, because the people that are good readers they will just find a way to make it better. So they will start asking questions, and it will just help them understand better. And maybe for the poor readers, they don't understand as well. So that will help them, know what they're supposed to know. And it really sets like a guide to what they're supposed to know. And they are looking for it and they are trying to find it. And lastly is how I would use guides in music, which is the guide I would use out of all of them, I would use the anticipation guide. And the text I chose was for historical and cultural relevance, which is compare and contrast music by genre, style, culture, historical period. So let's say we're in we're comparing different composers from different eras, and for that you have to read, you know, the whole, let's say, a Beethoven biography and a who should I say Chopin, which was a Romantic era composer, and then Bach, which was a Baroque era composer. So these are different music history periods, and with the anticipation guide, I mean, with music history, it's usually the factual um, under factual things that you have to understand, which are, a little bit tricky, like let's say dates and style of music. And there are different things that you know you, that they different methods they use to write music, or like let's say things like, for example, Bach never used the piano, but a lot of his music, or I would say most of his music for the clavier, is now played on piano. So those are things that they might not know. It's just a factual misunderstanding. And then I like it also because it can activate prior knowledge, and these anticipation guides work are, one second. So you identify the major ideas presented in the material, and then you consider what beliefs your students are likely to have. And that is always there's always misconceptions in music. I know I still when I began, there was a lot of things I thought were right, but they were just a little off. And then create statements that elicit those beliefs, and then arrange the statements in a manner that requires a positive or negative response. And so the graph shows here is it gives the statements, and then it says before, you have a column of before and after. And so you check the statement before reading if you agree with the statement, and then after you read it, you either go back to check it again or you exit out. And I think it applies to this text when comparing to, let's say, different historical periods, because there are a lot of facts that may be wrong. And there's just so many things to remember for music history that it's hard to, really remember everything, and you might get confused with some. So yeah, that is it. And I really believe reading guides can help with a whole bunch of subjects, and even with music, which is doesn't really require that much, let's say, a reading guide.